Hello and welcome to the GTPlanet League for round 3 of phase 1 of this year's tournament. I'm Chaz Draycott. Alongside me over here is Howard Mitchell of Double Dash Media. Howard, how are you feeling towards this one, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, Chaz, and I'm properly excited. Hi to everyone who's tuned in. It's an absolute pleasure for me to be joining in with the GTPlanet League, and I am super stoked for this one. It's you couldn't have written it better. We've built up 2 fantastic stories to tell this evening. We're going to get one team coming away with their first win, and we're going to have the battle then between our 2 undefeated teams. The immovable object meets the unstoppable force. So I am super pumped for this one, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, there really is a strong storyline behind this one. So just to get into it, for anyone that hasn't seen how this series works, then we'll have a quick look at the rules and the regulations behind this. So over the course of the night, then there will be 2 matches. 2 teams of 4 drivers will go head-to-head in an 8-driver race. There'll be a qualifying session and then 2 races. So the second one will have a reverse grid based on the results of the first race. The first point is scored for the fastest lap in qualifying as well. So just to get that little bit of an edge, teams really have to go for it, and pole position does matter. In these races, though, drivers score points based on their finishing position. So you get 1 point per position. First place gets 8, last place gets 1. And you get a bonus point for the fastest lap as well. So even if you don't finish first, you never know, you pace throughout the race. If you get a bit of clean track in front of you, that can make all the difference. We've actually seen 2 matches in the last round decided by that individual point. Now, the team with the most points at the end of the match, of course, is the winner. They are accumulative over the 2 races. And all drivers will use the same car, and there's no tyre wear or fuel consumption. So these guys will be going at it 100% from the get-go. And the drivers are not informed of the track ahead of the time. They literally just register for the session, and that's when they find out where they're going. So really exciting stuff. And now Howard will take us through the remainder of the schedule.
Absolutely. So as Chaz was saying, this is round 3 of phase 1 of the championship. So we've been doing round robin for the last couple of weeks and today, and that means that next week we're going to be moving on to the tournament, the phase 2 of the championship. That will involve the first eliminations, our first seed. Once we've seeded all the teams from this round robin phase, the top seed will go against the 4th seed, and then the 2nd and 3rd seeds will battle it out. And that's all ahead of the championship match on the 20th of October. And don't forget, in all of that, if you haven't seen the original 2 matches, go back and watch them, and be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a match. It's going to be fantastic.
Thank you very much, Howard. It certainly is going to be a really good way to round out the round robin phase. What we'll do then is show you the teams that you're going to see tonight. Then first up is going to be Thrustmaster. And these guys have had the same 4 drivers for all these race meetings. We've got FT Laura, Angela Inestrosa, UDI Didico, Adriano Carrazza, and then at the star of the show so far, really for me, is FT Nico R, Nicolas Rubelar. Fantastic form in the Nations Cup as well, of course, in the Gran Turismo World Tour. But he's won every single race he's entered except one in this league so far. And in that race, well, he didn't win, his teammate Carrazza did, so it's not too bad for Thrustmaster. Originals 14, of course, Randall Haywood rounds out their lineup, and then that will obviously put them against Lazarus.
Absolutely. So Team Lazarus, Canadian-based squad, and there are actually two changes coming into this round on their squad. Vincent Rigaud, we knew, was making his debut for them today, but as a bit of a last-minute change, Florent Pagendet is stepping in for Lewis Bentley. Now that's interesting because Bentley is a two-time race winner so far in the GTP League. So going to be interesting to see how the team play this one. Martin Grady in there, experienced driver there, and Callum Moxon as well, who was in for them last week and is back for another go.
So without further ado then, I'm pretty sure we'll be getting on to the first race then. Interesting to note as well here actually in this one, Howard, that of all the drivers that are taking part tonight, all 16, now that Lewis Bentley is involved, only 2 drivers out of these 16 so far have actually won races in the league so far. And of course that means that, you know, the pressure's on for the rest of them to step up and make that change, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So just as we're talking about, you know, coming into this first match in particular, you know, neither of these teams have had a win. We're going to get some first-time winners as well. But of course, the big thing about the format that makes this so interesting is it's not just about who's first across the line. It is about that team game. Every single position counts. So it's kind of interesting, but it's also unique to this format that it's kind of as uninteresting as it'll ever get, if that makes any sense at all. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is. One of the best things that we've seen in this is where, you know, there'll be one driver from, let's just say, Thrustmaster, for example, is absolutely nailing it around, trying to get away from the guys behind him, and he'll have 2 guys from the other team following him. What the 2 guys following him try and do is make sure that they compromise him in a place where they try and get a move done, so both of them can get through at the same time, rather than just one skipping through and then the other guy having to fight for himself. There's been a lot of interesting moments like that so far this season, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see whether around, of course, the Bathurst circuit we see before us, with the very infamous walls and no runoff anywhere, really, whether they can get that done, because, you know, every single millimetre counts at Bathurst, so they're really going to have the pressure on, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Mount Panorama doesn't really take any prisoners, does it, as a racetrack? It's quite the venue to have this first match of the round taking place. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the teams work together over the top of the mountain. Not, you know, you've not got the easiest places to overtake up there as well. So, you know, if you're maybe, I don't know, letting teammates through to see if they can have a go at the driver ahead, it's actually quite difficult to coordinate that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, you've got to really think about every single move that you're making around Bathurst. There's not really much room for any sort of mistakes to be made, so I'm going to be really, really intrigued to see how these guys get on in this one. They've really got to have the wits about them.
Absolutely, and it's the Z4 GT3 car as well that they'll be using.
They line up on the grid now then. So there is your grid, Howard, if you want to take us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pagendet has stamped his authority immediately for subbing in for Bentley, taking the high position there for the Lazarus team, but it is Nico Rubelar who will take this one from pole position. And immediately we're off for the race. Away we go on Mount Panorama, and it's a great start there from Pagendet, going straight to the head of the field there as they head up towards the mountain for the first time. And it's a good start also from Moxon there, getting up into second place. I believe Lazarus indeed he has. So good start here for the Lazarus team, getting themselves into first and second. But it's an all Thrustmaster affair behind them at the moment as they come up into the twistier part of the circuit now. As Chaz was saying before we got the race started, the walls are really close around this section. Still Pagendet at the head of the field. Through now at the top of the hill. this is a great start early on for Lazarus, but they do need to be careful, because there's quite the cluster of Thrustmaster drivers forming in the middle of the field here. Remember, it's the team going through the twisty part of the mountain now. Are there any opportunities that Thrustmaster can set up here? Highest placed of the drivers is Carrazza, the Brazilian driver. Here they are now, heading back down the mountain. Opportunity to be in the slipstream of other drivers, set up some overtake opportunities at the bottom of the hill. Is he going to be close enough? As they come round now to the end of the Conrad Straight, not close enough. But Lazarus getting a good start here, consolidating first and second, although as I say that now, Carrazza is right on the tail of Moxon here as they come round to finish this first lap. At the moment at least, it is Pagenday at the head of the field. Don't forget as well, you've got the fastest lap graphic there underneath the running order. There is a point available for that, and we have seen plenty of times already in the GTP League that the fastest lap is often a crucial point, as is the point that you can see there on your live points tally in the bottom left for qualifying. So Lazarus took that with Pagenday on the pole position. So crucial point there for Lazarus.
Interesting to note here as well, actually, that Jomas might want to try and run away with this to get the fastest lap of the race. He's got the clear track in front of him to, push that. And around Bathurst, if you're following the car in front of you, then it's going to make life a bit more difficult. Sometimes, you can try and conserve tyres, but that's not something these guys have to think about here. No tyre wear appeal for something, of course. Look at them just skimming the wall and setting the sparks off as they go around McPhilby Park, really close to the wall, trying not to hit the curbs too hard as they go down towards Skyline. Really, really scary bit of circuit. I don't know how many sims we've been on, but I'll tell you what, if any sim that you drive on down there, it is really frightening. But look at Jomas, no margins whatsoever either side of that massive BMW Z4 GT3, but his teammate there right behind him has got a real train of Thrustmaster cars on him, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's an even longer train than it was at the start of the race as well, because Inestrosa has managed to get himself up into that 6th spot now, ahead of Rigo in 7th and Martin Grady in 8th there. So good work there from the Thrustmaster team. They may not be leading outright, but they have got that really strong position in the middle of the pack there, and that means that the points are actually really tight. As you can see on your live scoring now, it is 18 points apiece within this race. And right now, that point for qualification that was got by Florent Pagenday for the Lazarus squad is looking absolutely crucial here as they head onto a new lap and into Hell Corner.
It makes all the difference, really, doesn't it? Calster's holding them off at the moment, but I don't know, throughout the slipstream and everything that we're going to see here from Carrazza, it's probably going to just close him up as they get down the Conrad Straight later on. A little apology from me, actually, there. It seems like I had the wrong microphone chosen for this, so I sounded like I was about 40 yards away from where I was actually commentating from, but here we are. Jomas, though, you've got to think that maybe he's going to try and stay within range here, of course, of his teammate, and try and drag him along with the slipstream. What do you reckon? Do you think that may be worth the risk in case he loses a place?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how they play this. There's also the argument that can they hold up the Thrustmaster guys enough that the likes of Rigo and Grady at the back can start putting pressure on and start, because something's got to change here. Ideally for Lazarus, yes, technically they're leading it by a point, but because the points are cumulative, you really want to have a slightly more dominant victory than it would currently stand if the race were to end right now. So there's all sorts of things coming into play here. They're getting so close to the wall now. I think that was Rubelar who I think almost kissed the wall there coming through the top part of the mountain.
Yeah, it's hard to not do over the course of a race at Bathurst, I think. I think you probably it's probably a bit of a stranger achievement not to do it than if you do actually do it through a race. Fantastic to see these Z4s really getting up to pace down the Conrad Straight then. And I tell you what, the field really hasn't spread out all that much here, so it's going to be exciting when they get into race 2 and the points really start to get even more important. But like you were saying, they want to stretch out a bit more of a lead at this point to Lazarus. But these top four, they're not making it easy.
Yeah, they do and they don't. It's almost like do they sprint at the front, or do they try and back the Thrustmaster guys as much as they can to allow the other Lazarus drivers to have a crack at them? It's a really interesting. This is yet another example of the interesting race dynamics that this format produces. But we do seem to have a slight break here now. The sort of breakaway four at the front here. Pagende in the lead still, with Callum Moxon behind, both Lazarus drivers at the front there. And then you have Karatza and Rubelar behind, and they seem to have broken away just a little bit from Inostroza and the rest behind. Interestingly, interesting that the two packs have gone away there. So if Lazarus were planning to back them up, then that plan may have gone away a little bit here, because the Thrustmaster guys aren't allowing them to rest on their laurels at the front.
Yeah, certainly. Look at this chase up here. It's fantastic. The helicopter overhead as well. This is McPhillamy Park. Real commitment from a racing driver down. A little bit of a wobble there from Didico. He's really fighting the car around this left-hander. It's like a sort of quadruple apex left-hander down the dip. Look how pretty Gran Turismo Sport is. It's wonderful with the sun shining in front of them. Not ideal when you're going down Skyline into the dipper then, and then they're going down towards Forest Elbow. Look at the cars wriggling all over the place. They're absolutely on the edge down here. And of course, no tyre wear to worry about, so they can take every liberty they want to. Oh, he runs a bit wide there though, and that's really not going to help him. Wow, Carrazza's lost a lot of ground there, and surely Randall Haywood's going to be on the back of him and past here.
I was going to say, and I said it was Rubelar who's part of this pack. It is indeed Haywood, actually, who's at the back of this. And yeah, definitely compromised down the straight there is Karatza, but they don't seem to be making the switch there, at least for now. So they're both going to try and back each other up on what will be the final lap of this one, if they're going to take the fight to the front two Lazarus drivers.
Can't believe that 4 laps at Bathurst has gone by so quickly already, to be honest with you. Unbelievable. You've got Florent Pagene then leading the way. He's got his teammate Calster, Callum Moxon, of course. They all joke about how young Callum is, but he just shows how talented he is for his age. And then, of course, Karatza actually looks like he's closed up a bit in that last sector. And the other guys as well, of course, headed by Nico Rubelar, has also done the same. As it stands then, Lazarus 2 points clear at the top, but not a massive advantage going into the second race if it stays this way here, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. Crucial thing to bear in mind. Nico Rubelar now with the fastest lap of this race, or currently with the fastest lap of the race. That could prove crucial. They're so close now. Any disadvantage that Karatza had down the Conrod straight on that previous lap, he seems to have made up for in the early part here, and he's trying any which way there to try and find a way through on Moxon there, but it still isn't presenting itself the opportunity at the moment. And Nico Rubelar has caught right up onto the back of this lead pack of 4 as well.
Oh, there's one of the Thrustmaster cars. Yeah, he was on the grass on the inside. I think he might clip the wall, and it's Rubelar in there with. Well, I couldn't really tell. All the names just sort of merged together there, if I'm honest with you, as they're going through there. It's Inostroza that might have had the issue. Rubelar back in front of him now as well through Skyline. But importantly, even though they have changed places, they're both Thrustmaster cars. Although, I heard you take a breath then.
Yeah, that was a moment there for Inostroza. He's under so much pressure from Rigo and Grady here at the back. These two Lazarus guys at the back. Remember, it's just as crucial what's happening at the back as at the front here in this format, and they want to score that extra point just to guarantee them a victory here. It's going to be really close here on the points as they're coming around to finish this one.
And of course now the points are equal, but here is your race leader then, Florent Pagene, making his way around the final few corners. Looks like he's going to get it done here with his teammate playing rear gunner there as Callum Moxon. Doesn't look like there's going to be any moves into the final corner. So around the final corner he goes then. Florent Pagene takes the win in race 1 of the night for Lazarus. Brilliant result for him. But of course, as it finishes like that, the points are equal, Howard. So I tell you what, we're back to square one before the second race of the night.
Yeah, so that's how they crossed the line. But I think we're going to have to take a moment there to get all those confirmed, because as ever, at some point these teams are going to have to give us some way of distinguishing between them. They're coming in tied on like their score across all the matches so far, and now they're trying to tie themselves on points. They really should try harder, I think.
Yeah, they really should. It's they just need to fight for every single place, because of course when you gain one position, it knocks the other team down 1 point and gets you 1 point. So essentially, it makes a 2-point difference, and that's why it gets really, really scary for these guys, because they know that if you're the driver to lose that place, then you've cost your team a point. But here are the results then, and it is confirmed. Yomas takes the victory then. Florin Pagenet crossing the line to take the win ahead of Callum Moxon in second place. And that means that Karatza rounds out the podium there with Randall Haywood, his teammate, just behind. Then, of course, in fifth place, Nicholas Rubelar, who, well, that's only the second race he hasn't won, actually, in this series so far. So, it's not like he's had a bad run of form. Then you've got Inestrosa in sixth. Just behind him is Vincent Rigo on his debut in seventh place. And in eighth place there, Martin Grady, actually. Quite surprising to see him at the bottom of the standings there, but as you can see at the bottom of the screen, then it is confirmed because of that fastest lap by Nico Rublar. The points are tied before race 2, so this is just going to get even more feisty. And of course, now it's a reverse grid. So who do you reckon could get this one?
Oh, blimey! Well, this is the thing, because that was such an even race. You don't have that effect that we've seen in some of our previous matches, where one team clearly has an advantage in this second race. With okay, so they didn't win race number 1, but now they have the advantage going into race number 2. It's actually quite even, and we were seeing there how difficult it is to create the overtaking opportunity. It's enough for these drivers wrestling the cars over the top of the mountain on some of the laps that we were seeing there. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Thrustmaster apply the pressure here. I wonder if maybe they're going to use Karatza to just put that pressure on nice and early and try and get an early jump on Lazarus.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm thinking that Martin Grady, LZR Tijni really needs to make a push forward here. Of course, the cars are actually in a mirror form of what they were at the end of that one. So, we've got 2 Lazarus cars at the front, 2 at the back, and then Thrustmaster in the middle. So let's see how they get on. And I can actually pick my drink up without being caught on camera for it this time, before the race gets going then. So they are away then. The Lazarus boys lead them from the start. Looks like the 2 guys in the back row, they're going to get a great start there. That promotes, who is that that's actually gone up there? It's Yomas that's trying to get through there.
Yeah, indeed. Sorry, it's Grady at the front, isn't it, who's taking the lead there. And can Lazarus keep it a 1-2? Rigo's under pressure from Rubelar. You can see them alongside there for second place. It's going to be a right-hander next, so Rigo is going to have the advantage in that sense, but Rubelar will try anything to get by, but actually he's out wide there, and is it going to allow Inestrosa through up into third place?
Looked like it might have done it. He clipped the wall a little bit, didn't he? So he still managed to hold on to fourth, but it's side by side between the guys at the back. Looks like someone got a little bit out of shape there. Although actually the Lazarus car loses out. That is actually Callum Moxon at the back of the field that lost out. So real shame for him. There's a penalty there chucked in for Randall Haywood. Originals 14. He's got a 3-second penalty. That must have been the contact that did it. It looks also actually like Moxon's got one as well. Wonderful shot there as they go down skyline. You can see the helicopter just above them. But a 3-second penalty though, Howard. That's quite severe, as of course we can see here that the race lead is still Martin Grady.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a costly one there for Haywood. He's gonna struggle with that hanging over his head, quite literally, as is the case in Gran Turismo. But yeah, it's a good breakaway here for Grady. Now I wonder if they're going to use Vincent Rigo in that second place Lazarus car to try and hold the pack up and allow the breakaway here for Grady. As you say, it was a surprise to see him at the bottom of the last race. None of these drivers are off pace, which very much stressed that, and indeed that was shown to us by how little field spread there was in that last race. But good few car lengths that Grady has in hand now at the head of the field as they come round to finish this lap. A little bit wide there as well, I'd say, from Randall Haywood. Got quite close to the wall there.
They're really giving every inch that they've got here. They're absolutely going for it. Looks like that Pagenet is going to come under a bit of pressure down the straight here from Karatza. Not sure whether he's going to have enough slipstream to get there though, because of course just in front of him he has the slipstream there of Randall Haywood with that penalty still there. And of course, even though he's at the back of the field, of course, Callum Moxon's got a 5-second penalty. I thought he had a 3-second penalty, so either that or he's picked up a bit more, but that Z4 is not going to be filled with a very happy driver right now, to be honest with you. We look there at 3rd place in Inestrosa, behind him Nico Rubelar. Inestrosa is going to be the one that's putting the pressure on here, and of course Vincent Rigo on his debut here, 2nd place now. He's going to be trying to defend this as best he can from Martin Grady. So, you know, he's got a lot of pressure on him now with these two very, the very sort of prestigious drivers for Thrustmaster. And of course these 4 have represented each other through each of these races so far this season. So they're all used to working as a team in these events. As he gets on the grass there, going to be side by side into the dipper. He pulls out of the manoeuvre there. That was very, very close, feisty stuff there. Down the hill, they nearly all make contact, but somehow they're all pointing the right way.
Yeah, I was going to say Rigo's absorbing the pressure well, and he is, but even on Mount Panorama, absorbing it well could still result in you kissing the wall. Just got him out of shape slightly. He's got the 2 Chilean Thrustmaster drivers on his tail, and it's interesting to see. Now, both of these teams have these penalties to deal with, don't they, to handle now? So that's an interesting factor at this point. But the 2 Thrustmaster drivers in 3rd and 4th, Inestrosa and Rubelar, helping each other out here. I think almost bump drafting down that Conrod straight to try and get themselves up onto the back of Vincent Rigo.
Yeah, there's so many different ways they could work this, I suppose. They could let one another by on a straight, or they could just move over really gently and not lose too much momentum. Or like you say, they could just bump draft each other and literally push one another down the straight. They don't have to worry about any sort of fuel consumption or tyre wear as well. So, you know, they can probably chuck the cars about a little bit more as well than they normally would even in a 5-lap race. I mean, of course, some of the top 16 superstar stuff that Gran Turismo do in their World Championships, they have really sort of exaggerated tyre wear and fuel consumption. So with none on offer here, they can really go for it, and we see the true pace all the way through the race. And the cars are, of course, at their best as well. Looks like a little bit of a breakaway at the moment for Martin Grady. He's, of course, got the fastest lap of the... Well, he did have the fastest lap of the race, actually. It's Yomas. Last time I looked, it was Grady, but now it's actually Pagenet. So luckily, it's still his teammate that's getting him that extra point. But Thrustmaster, though, losing out by 5 points here. So neither of these teams with a win yet. Looks like Lazarus might be on their way to get it here, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely looking good for Lazarus at the moment, but it still could all change, and you've got those penalties coming into play just to mess it up slightly for... I'll be honest, I think my abacus just caught fire with me trying to work it out, but I don't know if I've... Commentator cursed Carazza as well at the back. I said he might be punching through in this race, and he's currently at the back. He'll want to be trying to get past Moxon, because even though Moxon's carrying a penalty, he is being a roadblock for Carazza to get on up the road and try and challenge Pagenet.
I'll tell you, I don't want to be right now, and that's Vincent Rigo on his debut in the series, with those 3 angry Thrustmaster cars coming right after him. Of course, you've got Pagenet at the back of the queue, but even still, I don't want to be this guy right now. On the brakes, he's got a real train behind him. I mean, to be honest with you, so has your race leader here, Martin Grady. He's actually not too far ahead now compared to how he was at the start of the lap. So interesting to see that the field hasn't spread out that much into the last corner to go to the 4th lap here, if I get my words out properly. I'll put my teeth back in a minute. They get over the straight, down into Hell Corner, turn 1. I'll tell you what, just on that note, I don't know why it's called Hell Corner, because in all honesty, I don't really think it's that difficult, do you?
I mean, compared to some of the corners around this course, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like Forest Elbow, for example, Skyline. They should be Hell Corner, not turn 1. It's probably the easiest one on the circuit. But, oh well, we're on board with Rubelar then as they go up the hill. This just shows you how narrow it is, though, in a car such as the Z4 GT3, and how wide this thing is as well, and how few overtaking opportunities there are here, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. And bear in mind, these drivers didn't know this was the track they were going to be doing until today. So it's not like they've been able to train to be inch perfect over the mountain all week. So it's so impressive. It's a really, it's a huge reflection of how talented this group of drivers are, that they're just, okay, we'll do Mount Panorama, why not? And as you can see there, Rubelar squirreling around on the curbing there, pushing everything to the absolute limit. And yeah, as you were saying towards the end of the last lap, Chaz, Rigo doing a fantastic job here. Obviously, to call him a rookie in some senses betrays the experience that he's got, but nevertheless, he is doing a fantastic job to absorb the pressure from Thrustmaster right now. We're seeing the breakaway group of 4 again, and I wonder if, and there's a moment there. Pagendet's in the wall. Pagenet is in the wall now. Was that Haywood there? There's a penalty been issued to Carazza there. So that's
just
going to be
suddenly went
costing
spearing off,
5
didn't he?
seconds. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, I wondered if maybe Randall Haywood was in some way sort of, backing them up to try and give the opportunity to Karatza to get by, but it's resulted in a penalty for Karatza. So we're on board here. Presumably. Yeah, and there's the contact.
Just on the brakes, isn't it? A little bit later on the brakes, and of course, Haywood slowed down in front of Pagenet there, and I don't think he was expecting it. And then, of course, the guys behind all concertina together, and that was that. So it's a shame the penalty was given out, because I kind of think it was a bit of a racing incident myself. But at the end of the day, you still have hampered another driver's results. It's still 39-36 to Lazarus, though, interestingly enough. So these guys on the final lap now, still in with a chance of winning this. I was just looking back through the comments on the stream a moment ago, and I'm not sure how correct it is, but apparently Callum Moxon does this on a gamepad, so fair play to him if he does, because not only is he the youngest driver on the grid by quite a long shot as well, as far as I know anyway, but the skill to be able to do that and keep up with these guys on a gamepad, you never know, it might just be how he's used to it, but wow, fair play. As right now, once again, the least desired position in the field is second place, as Vincent Rigo has to hold off these Thrustmaster drivers for one more lap here, and he's literally stuck to it. The back of that car is going to be red by the end of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as close as they've ever been. I think the one thing you could say about that, and he's just dips the wheel on the grass there, pushing it to the limit. The Thrustmaster guys have got to be careful here, because about a lap ago, in about this part of the lap, one of their team got a penalty, of course. And picking up on what you were saying there, Chaz, I certainly feel one can say there was no malice in it. As you say, but sort of debatably or arguably a racing incident. But here we come then towards the finish. Martin Grady looking set to be first across the line. There's just a couple more corners now that Rigo has to hold off the pressure from Inestrosa behind. I think he's just
been a great drive by Grady.
Oh yeah, mega drive from both these two guys at the front in particular, I think.
Yeah, they've just kept it nice and clean, really defensive stuff. And into the final corner then, for the second time, it's going to be a win for Lazarus and the match win by 3 points as it stands anyway. Martin Grady takes the win then ahead of his teammate Vincent Rigo on his debut. Great to see him get that. Callum Moxon crossing the line in 5th place there. He's actually been promoted down, of course. The penalties all coming into effect as these guys cross the line. You saw Karatza there actually slowing down before the line, so the penalty didn't get applied afterwards. So we're going to have to wait a second, I think, here, just to make sure that these results all get added up and all the points get calculated. But wow, what another fantastic race there, Howard. That was awesome to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was another fantastic one there. And yeah, we are going to have to wait and see, because there was a little bit a bit of rubbing is racing, as is to be expected perhaps around that circuit. But no, fantastic job, fantastic drive, as you were saying towards the end there from Grady, and brilliant job by Rigo to absorb the pressure from Inestrosa, it's important to note got the fastest lap there, so that's about to come into play when we get the confirmed scoreboard up. But yeah, another fantastic show from both teams, and here we go with the confirmed results.
And there you have it then. So they do stay as they are. So Martin Grady takes the win in that one then from Rigo in second place. Great debut for him, as I said. And then you've got Inestrosa rounding out your podium, just ahead of Nicholas Rubilar. He finished 5th and 4th tonight, so not his best results, but midfield points still strong for him. Randall Haywood finishing in 5th, ahead of Florin Pagenet in 6th place, and then Callum Moxon 7th, with UDI Didico 15, of course, Adriano Carrazza rounding out the field. But a win for Lazarus then, their first win of the season. Thrustmaster end this phase of it actually as the 4th seed without a victory to their name, so they're going to be pretty gutted with that, to be fair, aren't they, after how hard they were pushing in those last 2 races?
Yeah, and it seems incredible that we're talking about a team like Thrustmaster not yet having a win, given but it just goes to show the standard of racing that we've got in this GTPlanet League. It really is quite something, and yeah, they're going to be wanting some retribution for that going into our second phase of the championship. But great job from Lazarus, no doubt, with the 2 race wins and obviously playing it well throughout the field.
Yeah, definitely. They really did push as hard as they could, and of course they're going to reap the rewards of that now. And of course, coming up in just a few moments' time, we're going to head on to the main event tonight. I think everyone's going to be they'll probably join me on saying that. It's going to be Williams against Redline. These two teams have won both their matches so far, both undefeated, and at the end of the night, one of them still will be. So if you catch us in a few more minutes' time, we'll get that second race underway for you, and we'll have the rest of the action for the night. Welcome back to the GTPlanet League. I'm Chaz Draycott alongside Howard Mitchell for tonight. Just had the first match, of course, between Lazarus and Thrustmaster. Lazarus coming out on top. But now we have Williams against Redline. It's going to be a really, really exciting race. We hope you've collected your breath after the first one, because I tell you what, Howard, this is going to be even more mental, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's an understatement to say that this is the one we've been waiting for. It's been building up to this nicely over the round robin stages over the last couple of weeks, and it's nice that this is going to be the match that we close out this phase with, in a way, because as I said at the top of the broadcast, the unstoppable force is about to meet the immovable object, and we really don't know which way it's going to go.
No, exactly. And speaking of the immovable objects themselves, we'll see the drivers then that will line up for these teams. First up, it's Williams, and they've been fantastic in all their rounds so far, winning both matches that they've taken part in. We're Williams Adam 41, then Adam Saswillo from the UK, and then we have Williams Fuveros, which is Patrick Blajan. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, Patrick. I do apologise. Williams Gio is the third driver for the team, Giorgio Mangano, and then we've got Jim B Racer 26, Valerio Gallo. So 2 Italians, a Hungarian, and of course, UK driver Adam Saswillo himself, who has taken part in most of these races so far for Williams, hoping to get another strong result out of this one.
Absolutely, and let's take a look at Team Redline. Now, they've got a few changes coming into this one. They don't have Manu Rodri in their team this time round, and a last-minute change for them is that Daniel Holland is not able to take part. So how's this for a substitute? They've got Mikael Hazal in for them, which is about as substitutes go. I think that's pretty good. Andrew McCabe in there from the States, Adam Tapai as well, and Fernando, of course. It's another strong lineup from the Team Redline squad. We'd expect nothing less, and it sets us up for a cracking match.
So they're just finishing qualifying now, and of course the beautiful, one of my favourite cars ever made, I think, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 is before you, and it sounds insane, it looks insane, especially in the Williams livery as well. It's absolutely beautiful, and they're at the Dragon Trail circuit, so not the easiest of places to race. A very wide circuit, as you can see, beautiful scenery there as the camera pans away. But so far in qualifying then, we have Valerio Gallo on the pole position as the lads just finished their laps now then. Looks like it's going to be Mick Hazal third. You've got Adam Saswillo second at the moment. See if anyone gets any lap time changes and goes up the order. This is TRL Perpi. Fernando there, sixth. Oh, he's actually, he's gone down the order there, and it looks like just at the last second then, Mangano gets ahead of him there. So he goes up to 7th place, and there he is in the pit lane. Very wonderful chrome livery on that Redline car, very in your face. He's got the hazards on as well. And that's the end of the session, and there is your grid then. So we're going to have a Williams front row then. What do you reckon, Howard? Do you reckon they can hold on to that? They have got Mick Hazal behind them, but you never know what can happen in these races, I suppose.
Yeah, as you say, one of the notable things I heard you say there, a wide circuit. There's going to be opportunities here for this to change. But for now, though, it is Gallo on the pole for this, and an all-Williams front row, as you say. Here we go. So 3, 2, 1, and away. And can they all get the good start off the line?
Oh, wow, look at the formation flying by Williams.
Yeah, really good start there. They're immediately together, aren't they, to counter any attack from Redline.
Look at them through the S's there. Wonderful shot as they come up, and it looks like just into 3rd place there slips Blajan as well, so he's got them in a really strong position now. The Redline guys drop down. Mick Hazal down to 4th place. He has got Adam Tapai just behind him there, with Fernando in 6th place. TRL Doodle, that is of course Andrew McCabe on his debut tonight, and 2 of the Williams guys are actually on their debut as well. That's Valerio Gallo and Blajan, and of course the race leader at the moment is Valerio Gallo himself, so he's doing a great job as it stands out on his debut, leading the way for Williams. They're going to be really chuffed with that.
Yeah, if you're Williams right now, you couldn't have written it much better than, okay, Mangano is towards the back, but you've locked out the podium positions, as it were, and there's been a penalty attributed to Adam Tapai there of the Redline runners. Not a huge penalty, but it's still going to be coming into play. So Williams have had their dream start here, and already they're trying to work together to break away here as they're heading through the chicanes. Little kiss on the wall there from Swillow.
Anyone that's watched Super GT Steve Brown's YouTube videos will know that he did a race recently on this circuit in the LMP1 cars, and he calls that the chicane of death through there because it's so narrow and you're going through there so quickly. Even in these cars as well, you could just see the pace they were going through. But across the line then, end of lap 1, it's Valerio Gallo leading the way then with his teammate Blajan in second place. The two debutants for that team as well, ahead of Adam Siswillo in third. He is having to defend from Mick Hizal, and of course behind him as well, Adam Tapai in fifth. Oh, one of them running wide, that's Fernando in sixth place. Not quite sure he's going to lose a position from it, but actually making his way up to seventh now as well. Mangano not last anymore. Now it's actually under Andrew McCabe, debutant for Redline. He is in eighth position there, only scoring them 1 point as it stands.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we keep saying with this format, every single position is crucial. So, important move there from Mangano to get himself up into seventh. McCabe is going to want to try and get that one back. Pressure being put on now. Hizal trying to pressure Siswillo for third place.
Really getting closer and closer, isn't he, as he gets onto the brakes. So he doesn't look for a move at that point. I think he's going to play a bit of mind games at this point. He knows that there's another 5 laps after this. We'll get a great onboard shot here of the chicane of death that I mentioned not long ago. Here you go. Look how quickly they come through here. It's not this one that's so scary because it's a bit open there. It's like the Monaco swimming pool, but backwards. Look at that there, where that wall is. It's so solid and in your face. You don't want to be hitting that. It may be bright orange, but it doesn't make it any softer. You've got just behind him then as well is Adam Tapai waiting to take advantage of his teammate, but you know, Mick Hizal leading the red line charge at the moment, but it's not enough. You can see the points difference, 8 points there. I wasn't really expecting that at this point. I would have thought that it was going to be even more even than the other match if it could have possibly been, but Williams really showing him how it's done at the moment in these Aston Martins.
Yeah, Williams with the early advantage here. In fair play to Thrustmaster and Lazarus, they did give a very hard up to follow in terms of closeness, as you say, but Hizal was trying to push, so when we were on board with him there, you can see how hard he was trying to push, but it's so easy to just get the slightest bit out of shape coming through those 2 chicanes there. He's been able to get back on. He seems strong in this first sector of the lap. He's managed to get himself back onto the tail of Adam Siswillo there in third place. Siswillo's got that hard job that we saw Vincent Rigo of Lazarus take on earlier on. He is the rear gunner for the Williams lot at the front here. So far absorbing the pressure really well, I think, or as his 2 teammates push hard to break out ahead. Yeah,
the train really still as one at the moment. Oh, as we look back though, Hizal just chucks it down the inside. He gives it a bit of a warning there to Adam Siswillo. Still not enough to get through though. Adam not really that phased by it, to be honest. He didn't run too wide, but they're not really spreading out at this stage, to be honest here, Howard. So I reckon that if he keeps the pressure on, he could at least be on for a podium. Oh, there was a bit of a wiggle, and he's in the wall. He's hit the wall there. You know, we mentioned it before, and they've got such small margins here. And now Adam Siswillo at the back of the field. The points will update in just a moment, but that really changes things here.
Oh, big moment for Siswillo. He was doing so well to absorb that pressure, but yeah, as you say, it's on such fine margins through that part of the lap, and I don't think Hizal was close enough that there was any form of contact or anything there. I think that was just a simple a driver error, which is very understandable. Or are we going to see otherwise here? I don't think Hizal was that close.
Oh, he hits the curb on the way in, doesn't he? And it just unsettles the car. Big moment as well, actually, for Fernando. He was very sideways through there. But that's just how quickly it can change in these events, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, it's had a dramatic impact on the live points. There you go, Chaz. You wanted it closer. How's that for you?
That'll do.
20 to 18 when taking qualifying into account. Williams just with the edge at the moment. But there's a lot of pressure now being put by Hizal again, but this time on Blajan in second place.
If he gets this done though, it'll be even points as well. It'll be 19 each. He goes down the inside. He's going to make the move on the brakes. He only sort of did it as a bit of a threat to Adam Siswillo before. A little bit of argy-bargy as they come together halfway around the corner. Now they're coming into the chicanes, and he's still in third place. So really, really good defensive stuff by Blajan to make sure he gets the run through this section of the course. He's got his hazards on. It looked like he clipped the wall as well. They're all a bit sideways. Just in the background, that was Fernando. Fernando got into the wall. I don't think he lost a place from it, but having to slow down there was Mangano. and he loses a place now to McCabe. So another point lost there, and of course another point gained for Redline, and now that's going to make things even. So with just a couple of laps to go, Redline is starting to turn this around.
Yeah, I was super impressed by that exchange between Blajan and Hizal there, both giving each other just enough room, but wow, that was heart in the mouth stuff there through the chicanes, and as you say, it's now changed back again. The life scoreboard can barely keep up with these guys at the moment. They're battling so much. Really, really tight. This is exactly what we hoped to see. Once again, as I say, in this early part of the lap, Hizal's able to get onto the back of those Williams cars ahead. And once again, Blajan finds himself under pressure, doing fantastic rear gunner work here for Valerio Gallo. We're hardly having to mention Gallo at the head of the field here because of the battling that's going on throughout the field.
You couldn't get much of a better debut though, could you, for him? And of course his teammate as well, Blajan, second place. So these guys really putting it in for Williams at the moment. I've done a bit of a commentator's curse there because Hizal's got a really good run on second place driver, and he's going to go around the outside. He can. Oh, he's not quite made it though. He's going to try and get the cutback. Doesn't quite work for him though. And all it does really is open up the lead to our race leader then, Gallo. But Blajan still holding on to that second place. They're so close to that wall through there. It scares the life out of me every single time. And just shut your eyes and just keep it on the throttle. Unbelievable. Interesting to note though as well that McCabe's got the fastest lap here as Hizal goes back down the inside. He's going to get it done.
Yeah, I was going to say Blajan did what he needed to do, shutting the door early around the lap, but surely here Hizal is going to have the advantage. Still side by side as they come across the line, and still somehow it's Blajan here who has the advantage in the battle for second, and he's done it. He's managed to hold him off. This is a superb drive from the Hungarian Patrick Blajan here, holding off so much pressure from Team Redline behind him and allowing Valerio Gallo to just get on up the road and consolidate that lead. This is absolutely brilliant stuff from Blajan, and bear in mind as well, whilst they're battling. Oh, an out-of-shape moment there for Mikael Hizal, and he drops down the field. Big moment there for Hizal, manages to recover it fairly well given what was happening there, but that's him out of the battle for second for the time being. Now he'll do well to keep Mangano behind him.
So just really sort of importantly for him though, he didn't lose a place to any of the Williams cars. It's just his teammates, so the points stay as they were. Let's have a look then. Oh, he just clips the inside of that curb and it really unsettles the car. He did really well to not let the car spin entirely, to be fair. Recovers quite well, doesn't lose too much time to Fernando ahead of him. But wow, what a strong moment that was. That was a code brown, as some of the sim races I know would call it anyway. Through the chicanes they go. He's now heading this sort of second pack in the field. And that means that maybe a little bit of the pressure sort of taken off Blajan a bit here. Of course, the gap has opened up a bit now, and it's the two Redline teammates. Here is Fernando going past Adam Tapai. Yeah, that was very well orchestrated, wasn't it? Because of the penalty, isn't it? He's just letting Adam Tapai go behind him there, so he can go chasing after second place man Blajan. One more lap to go. I don't think he can close it down there.
No, it's going to take quite a start to the lap. But we have seen that the Redline guys seem generally strong in this early part of the lap. Whether if they can bring that gap down. So Fernando's going to be pushing it. I've got to say, of Hizal's incident a lap ago, these guys look impressive even when they're making mistakes. The way he recovered that back onto the track. So as you say, crucially managed to keep himself ahead of the Williams cars, and indeed could he actually as well do a favour for McCabe and give him an opportunity to put a move on Mangano.
Yeah, potentially. And I just had a quick look at some of the comments in the YouTube chat as well. Someone's saying that what he's doing there is actually just sort of trying to help himself out for the reverse grid with 200 IQ strats. So I don't think he's wrong either, to be honest, because he's going to be fourth on the grid for the reverse grid. But he didn't lose any points in the meantime in doing so. So fair play. If he's done that on purpose, then yeah. But I don't think he would have made a mistake like that if he was really trying to get the best for his team. But you know what these guys are like. Some sim racer mentality can confuse the life out of me somehow. Sometimes, even though I'm one of them. As wow, the pressure really on now from Mangano. side by side, bit of door banging there around the final few corners. He's gone and done it around the outside. That's easy going to make that stick because he got the momentum. As out the final corner they go, though, across the line. It's going to be a win for Valerio Gallo and his teammate Blajan finishing second. Third place is going to go the way of Fernando. Fourth place, Adam Tapai, as Williams Gio, that's Giorgio Mangano, just finishing fifth there, ahead of Hizal. I didn't know where to look through after that. I've gone bright red. That was just mayhem. What did you make of that? It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Well, that was the move of the match for me from Mangano at the end there, because he just got it across the line. Well, I kind of hope for it. We'll wait to see the confirmed results, but goodness, I hope that one sticks, because that was an incredible move. Yeah, well, that's what we expected, wasn't it, from bringing these two teams together? And we still don't know, as we talk now, who's actually in the lead between these two. It's crazy, but really good race. Great start from Williams there. Got themselves into the positions they needed, and a good win for, we presume.
Yeah,
Valerio Gallo.
Wow.
There you go, confirmed. And there is. Oh, but that's big, isn't it? In terms of the overall results there. So Gallo confirmed with that win. Blajan in second there. Then it's Fernando, the highest of the Redline runners, in third, bagging those 6 points there. Adam Tapai doing a solid job in fourth. Fifth across the line and classified as such as well there is Giorgio Mangano, and then is Hizal, then McCabe, and then Adam Saswillo finishing classifying in eighth there. But of course we'll have the pole for the next race, and Williams getting that fastest lap as well, courtesy of Blajan, means that Williams now have quite a significant lead there of 6 points in hand over Redline.
Yeah, really, really important to have those extra points. At one point there, it was 20-18, so they managed to get it out to 22-16. So they're going to be really, really chuffed with that one. Fantastic stuff by Blajan and Gallo as well. I mean, to get a 1-2 on their debut for Williams in this league is just brilliant. Really, really strong stuff. Shame about the mistake from Hizal, but to think that he got overtaken so easily by Mangano at the end, I'm thinking that he is strategizing this a little bit and trying to get the reverse grid. Shame about Adam Saswillo, of course. He was third when he made that mistake, but he's now going to be on pole for the reverse grid. And speaking of, we should have race 2 any second now to bring for you. Then the last race of the night, the final one of this match and this phase in the league. And that word final, you couldn't sum it up in fewer words, I don't think, really, as they see Adam Saswillo pole position then on the right-hand side. He has McCabe alongside him, then Hizal, then Mangano, Adam Tapai, Fernando, and then you have Blajan, and of course, our race 1 winner Gallo on the last row of the grid. So, these Aston Martins then are going to light it up one more time tonight. Away they go. A very subdued start. No one really making many moves around at the moment. Looks like Saswillo's got a good getaway. Not so much a good getaway from McCabe. I think he might be letting his teammate Hizal through here. They're going into a left-hander though, and there's a Williams car. That is going to be Mangano trying to go down the inside. Mangano goes up to third. McCabe down to fourth in the first few corners, but he's going to get it back through the right-hander. Adam Saswillo leading the way here, Howard. Nice, good start from him, and he's trying to break away a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, but he has Mangano wasn't able to get through and sort of install himself as that rear gunner there, so now it is going to be Mikael Hizal who puts the pressure here on Saswillo. We saw in the last race how Hizal is able to apply this pressure here, and he's looking racy here in the early phases of this one. Good job being done as well by McCabe now in third to just give Hizal the space to try some stuff out, to try and find a way past in these early phases.
And he's really trying to get the pressure on now, trying to go around the outside, maybe go for a little bit of a cutback on Saswillo. He's trying it. I don't quite think he's going to get it done though. There's a bit of a door bang though, and that's going to give Hizal the momentum, and he's going to go through into the double chicane. Fantastic. Although he's got a penalty, a 5-second penalty. That's incredibly harsh for that, if I'm honest. I really wasn't expecting that. Maybe half a second like we saw in the first race, but that changes everything now. That really changes everything.
Yeah, that's big. That's really big, and I have to agree with you somewhat, Chaz. That seemed quite harsh for the exchange that we saw there. But let's take a moment to say what a move, even though there was a penalty given there, because that was. I was just thinking, I know what the next corner is. 2 cars can't go through that one. That was a lovely little exchange there, and Good stuff there from Saswillo as well. Did well to defend there and keep that one alive, that battle, for as long as he possibly could. But yeah, this penalty now, and it's the only penalty that's been given across the field. So how do you play this if you're Redline?
Oh, if you make his out, you just go for it. Get the hammer down. Don't worry about your teammates behind. Let them try and sort the rest out, and you try and build up a lead. But Saswillo's not letting him get away here. Just shows how close it is between these guys. You've got Redline Williams, and then repeat twice. And it's nice and formal at the moment between these guys. We've got a nice little pattern going on. But as it stands, as you can see at the bottom, Williams will win this by 2 points. The fastest lap is from Mick Hizal, so while he has got that penalty to worry about, you know that he's going to try and set the pace and get away as best he can. You can hear the pops and bangs from these fantastic Aston Martins. I'm absolutely in love with them, can you tell? And through the second set of chicanes, once again, there they go, flying through, trying not to take too much curb to unsettle the car, as we saw Saswillo do in the first race. That scares the life out of me still. But there we go then. Saswillo still trying to put the pressure on here. Howard is not breaking away, as Hizal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as you say, they're driving in formation nicely at the moment. Going Redline Williams all the way down through the pack. But Saswillo is the one who has to put the pressure here at the front. And if anything, that looks like the closest battle as well. I think
Blažan's putting a bit of pressure on Tapai as well, as it looks like a battle for the lead. It's really closing up here, actually. McCabe, like you say, is on the back of Saswillo. He's going to try and get the move done down the inside. Look at that wonderful shot as they go up towards the mountains. That's absolutely beautiful. And of course, he's got to think about Mangano as well, who's just behind. Mangano doing a good job there in 4th place on the back of this train. But the thing is, they're not... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you've got to pick your moment here, haven't you? If you're McCabe, you can't risk throwing away crucial points by falling behind Mangano. So when you do make the move on Saswillo, it's got to be decisive.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what I was going to say. To be fair, is that they don't want to take too many risks if they're going to make a move here, because if it does go wrong, rather than just things stay as they are, they're going to lose a place and give Williams one as well. So, you know, it's not as simple as make a move. They've not got a teammate as a rear gunner. None of them have. As it's a bit side by side. The background, that looks like it's actually going to be a swap between Blažan. Is it Blažan going ahead? I was trying to figure it out there. I think actually he was just getting just defending was Adam Tapai. Oh, there's a car around. 2 of them around. Who was that in the background? Was that Williams? It was Saswillo. He's done it twice. And it's 2 Williams cars around, so they're going to throw it away. Surely that's thrown it away for him.
That's a big moment for Williams there. Both Saswillo and the race 1 winner Valerio Gallo are around. And as you say, Chaz, surely that is going to have a rather significant effect on the scores. And there you go. There is the switch, and it's a big one. So Williams, we're going to see it again here. What happens for Saswillo? Was that sparks off the wall just in there? Oh, it just tags the inside of that. And I think Gallo sort of spun in sympathy there, almost thinking he had to avoid something there. And wow,
off going in.
Yeah, big moment for Williams there, and the opportunity now. And of course, in all that, McCabe has now got up to 2nd and can do that rear gunner job and allow. And this is big in terms of the penalty that Mikael Hizal has to be applied. If McCabe can do his rear gunner job well here and hold up Mangano and all the others, he can allow Hizal to get up the road and basically negate that penalty that's got to be applied.
Yeah, definitely. There was a move in the background as well. I think one of the Redline cars trying to go down the inside of the Williams car didn't quite make it work, but yeah, like you say, Hizal now has a bit more breathing space to try and get away here. Be interesting to see whether it does affect the points at the end of the race. Oh, that was very close to the wall by McCabe there at both sides of that chicane. Millimetre perfect from him there. He's obviously got a good run because of it as well. But right now, the place you don't want to be in is Mangano's shoes, because he's got 2 Redline cars in front and then 1 behind, and then none of his teammates anywhere near him. Of course, you've got Blažan in 5th place ahead of Fernando, but he's having to defend this whole time, so he can't really make much of a run on these guys. So this is really, really tense now. 2 laps to go after this one. Here are the 2. I thought it was the 2 Williams cars that were that close together. Fernando down the inside of Blažan. On the brakes they go. He's going to try and get it around the outside into the right-hander then. He's got it. Fantastic move by Fernando. That was beautiful. Beautiful stuff. And now Blajan side by side with him once again as he gets the run. Fernando's gone to the inside to defend it. It's a double right-hander. Oh, he's lost it on the brakes. Bit of contact and somehow stays in front. I don't know how he managed that, but I tell you what, Blajan won't be too pleased with that because of the contact that happened. But he's just going to be more spurred on to push it now, as Redline really have this in their favour.
Absolutely, Fernando really did well to catch that one, to be perfectly honest. And Blajan was doing putting the pressure on there, wasn't he? But they all live to race another lap, as it were. You can just see though how far off the back of these two the Williams cars are. There's absolutely no chance of them getting involved in the remainder of this race, unless there is another incident, as McCabe sends a few sparks flying, just for good measure, you know, just make it look. It's actually just he wanted it to look more dramatic, really. But at the moment, it's interesting to see Hizal isn't able to get that far up the road at the moment. Clearly, the pressure that Mangano is applying to McCabe means that he can't hold the thing up too much. And as you were saying earlier on, Chaz, this is a nice wide track. It's not the easiest circuit to do the sort of you won't pass routine on.
Yeah, it's big comparison to big contrast, to Bathurst that we saw not long ago. I mean, still another GT3 car, but yeah, this track is probably, I'd say, about 4 times wider than Bathurst. Really, it's probably 3 times, I reckon, if I'm not exaggerating. But really, pressure being put on now by Mangano onto the back of McCabe. But yeah, it'd be interesting if we just look at McCabe for a second, just to see the gap ahead to Hizal, just so we can see what sort of range he's got and what that penalty will do to him. Because you can see there on the timing screen on the left that he is 0.11 seconds. I think that's slower than his fastest lap, but he's got 1/10 of a second in front and then 1/2 a second behind him. So it's really it's small margins still at this stage. McCabe, second place, just trying to defend here. That's all he's got to do, really. He doesn't have to do much else, to be honest. Hizal is the one with all the work to do to try and negate that penalty completely. But only one more lap after this one, though. I'd say that's only, it's barely even a 2-second gap, is it?
Yeah, it's going to take, if that, it's going to be, it's going to, at the moment, take something quite extraordinary for this to swing back the way of Williams. I said earlier that there's not a lot that the two at the back can do. There is, of course, one thing they can do, which is set the fastest lap. That is the one contribution they can make towards the Williams effort at the moment. But it's going to take that and then quite a bit more from their teammates up further up the road. The likes of Mangano and Blajan are going to have to pull something extraordinary off here. Blajan is in the wheel tracks of Fernando. Can he reverse the move that was done in this part of the lap a couple of laps ago?
And there is Fernando then. Just he's going to have his mirrors full of that Williams, but it just doesn't look like Blajan can do that much at the moment, to be honest, other than just put the pressure on. He's just got to wait for a mistake, but only 1/2 a lap to go, and here is probably going to be the eventual race winner. Here is McCabe. Surely, if he doesn't do that again, he's got a massive wobble through there. That would have scared anybody, no matter how experienced. But it looks like he's just gradually got a little bit of a gap now on Mangano in third. Mangano, to be fair to him, what a trooper. He's really putting a good fight in this race to stick with these guys and not let Adam Tapai behind as well. Adam's just sitting back and watching the fireworks at the moment. He'll be watching the sparks in a minute if McCabe is going to be up to his usual tricks. Let's give it a go. Big wobble through there. Yep, there he goes, kissing the wall. No sparks, though. Just missing that wall. I tell you what, he's got a death wish, that boy, through there. He's absolutely launching at that wall. Don't know what he's doing, but it looks like, actually, I say that, and Adam Tapai's dropped down. Hizal has dropped back a lot now as well. What's he doing here? Is he letting McCabe win on the road as well? But out the final corner, then, it's not a strange sight for people to see Mick Hizal take the win for Redline ahead of McCabe, ahead of Mangano in third place. And yeah, Hizal drops down to 4th. So a couple of points gained there. There was 3 points difference before that. So I reckon, unless one of these boys sets the fastest lap now, and actually, tell you what, if you look at that, Valerio Gallo has set the fastest lap of the race.
Exactly what they needed to do.
This could be 1 point win to Williams here,
Yeah.
based on that last lap.
That just all closed up a lot. And it's interesting you were saying about McCabe there through the last part of the lap. Because of the penalty that Hizal had, he was defending the win there. I mean, he wasn't like you're saying he has a death wish. He can't make a mistake there at that point because he would lose the win for Redline. So this, we're not saying this just to add effect here, folks. This could be quite the scoreboard we're about to be presented with here with the confirmed results. And I kind of don't know what to say, Chaz, because I don't know what this is going to show.
I'm just going to shut my eyes and I don't even know. Okay, so here we go. We just had confirmation from the director. Who is going to be your top seed in the GTPlanet League? It's Williams by... No, it's not. It's Redline. I can't count. Redline won it by 1 point. Wow, McCabe takes it then ahead of Giorgio Mangano. And then it's Adam Tapai in 3rd place. God knows why I thought 7 was more than 8. Then you've got Mick Hizal in 4th place. And then, of course, 5th place goes the way of Patrick Blajan. Good debut for him, to be fair. Fernando finishing 6th, Adam Siswillo in 7th, and Valerio Gallo is going to be 8th. Even though he got that fastest lap at the end, still wasn't enough, I suppose. And Redline are the undefeated team in this section of the series in this phase. Wow, 1 point, and a fastest lap didn't even make the difference. But wow, that was the dramatic race we needed to round this up, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and I don't know whether to be like as shocked as I always naturally feel, or just that's kind of what we expected from these teams, right? It was always going to be 1 point, but no, it's absolutely brilliant stuff, and I've got to keep saying just how much I'm loving this format because it just keeps things going right up until the end there. In fact, beyond the end, we have to sort of talk and wait because it's such an unknown there. And great to see Gallo having putting in that fastest lap. And I suppose if not to preempt the question, but I'd submit him as the driver of this match because he got that win, and even having spun, and he kind of just got caught up in what was happening there for Siswillo. He did the best that he could and set that fastest lap. So a real good team play there from Gallo, but ultimately wasn't enough by 1 point.
Yeah, indeed. I agree with you on that. I'd have to give it to Gallo as well, to be fair. He's just stood out for me. And of course, on a debut as well. Still really good stuff from Patrick Blajan. I mean, 5th place in the second one doesn't really reflect the pace he had. He had to do so much defending to Adam Tapai that he just lost so much time in the long run. And, he couldn't challenge for that winning race too. But he still made the places up, got as many points as he could. But, wow, Redline, they just... we thought that Williams were making it look easy at the beginning, and then Redline just come back, swing it the other way, and then, they've ended up winning this part of the series. And fair play to them as well, because the persistence really paid off.
Absolutely. Yeah, the start that Williams got in that first race, you wouldn't, you were thinking, okay, they've got it sussed here. They're gonna sort of stamp their authority on this race, and then maybe have one of their guys hanging back for that reverse grid, and then they're going to work their way through as a trio, something like that. But as ever with this, and definitely get your thoughts and comments coming on hashtag GTP League about this one. But as ever with this series, it just we never know what's going to happen until it's happened. To say
definitely
the least.
not. And like you were saying about the format as well, 1 point can change everything. One fastest lap, even a qualifying lap can change it. It's just so close. I mean, you say to people it's 4-on-4, they think, a lot of people jump to the conclusion that, it's a small field, you're not going to get much good racing. These guys just knock it out the park. It's fantastic to watch. Really, really good stuff. Great shout to Jordan Greer as well and Nick McMillan for organising it, because they really do a cracking job as well. The amount of info we get behind the scenes as well, I'm pretty sure you'll agree, Howard, is absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, another fantastic night of racing. Of course, the next phase of the series will take place in a week's time on October the 13th. It is the 13th. Luckily, it's not a Friday for any of these drivers. We will catch you then. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Howard, for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you next week.